What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? NFL Week 14 here, back with Shane and I. Big slate today. Obviously, last week we had Thanksgiving, so big slate today with plenty more games to talk about. Some big games in terms of divisional matchups and potential playoff seeding. We got Philly Dallas tonight. We got Denver LA today in the divisional matchup. Bills Chiefs. Bills looking for a big win today. Chiefs looking to get back on track. Buccaneers Falcons in the NFC South. Texans looking to stay hot. Colts looking to stay hot. Bengals looking to find a way in the playoffs. So a bunch of games to get to today. We'll hop right into the first one as Detroit takes on the Bears on the road to Chicago, getting 3. This line's bumped around 4, 3.5, 3, 3.5, 3. looks like it's staying at 3 for now. Possibly could back up to 3 with some public action. It's definitely a public favorite this week as usual. Shane, what are we seeing today in Chicago?
Uh, I mean, it's hard to not want to take the Lions in this spot. The Lions are just a way better team. The Bears, I mean, they have life, I guess, because they're quote in the hunt, but nobody thinks they're gonna make the playoffs or anything. Justin Fields off the bye is 0-3 straight up, 1-2 ATS. Lions are 4-0 straight up in ATS on as a road favorite this year. Goff is good against the NFC North. Even though we saw him lose to the Packers on Thanksgiving, I'm not going to put too much stock into that. It's just a matter of the one team's way better than the other. I think Justin Fields can still have a day. We saw him kind of go off against the Lions a couple weeks ago. I think he's going to do a lot on the ground. Um, I think this could be a higher scoring game because the Lions defense has been coming back down to earth from what they were from the beginning of the year. Bears defense is improved, but still not good. Um, I'll just take the team that's better.
Yeah, this line kind of scares me a little bit. Um, Obviously, it's in Chicago. It's a divisional matchup. Big game for the Lions here is to keep on pace with what's going on in the NFC in terms of seeding. Um, it's just weird. It drops from 3.5 to 3. That means respected money on the Bears today for some reason. Um, I think it's gonna be on the Bears defense to stop this team, Lions. I'm talking about especially on offense here. And then for the Lions to step up on defense and stop Fields and his rushing attack, which the defense has been playing somewhat of a shaky look the past couple weeks. Um, so I like the Lions here to get the win. Might see some freaky stuff in this game. I think it's kind of a game where I'm going to stay away from money wise. I do think Lions cover the 3 here. Um, but the line kind of scares me a little bit with only being 3. With it being 6 in Detroit, it still seems a little off to me. I think they're still a 7.5 point favorite in Detroit in this matchup. So the line seems maybe a point and a half off in this one. But I'm gonna stick with the Lions here. Could see some points. Like I said, both defenses definitely struggling in the past weeks. Bears have been struggling most of the year, bottom 10 in defensive FPI in the NFL. So maybe look for some points here. I think total is pretty low at 44, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, totals at 44. Opened at 46.5. It's actually dropped. Really, really weird line movement in this one. So I'm gonna stay away money wise. But I like lines here in the over. Maybe a public side, but I can't bet on the Bears right now. All right, game number 2: Rams at Baltimore. Excuse me. Rams getting 7.5. Key number of 7. They get 7.5 on the road in Baltimore. Lamar has struggled to cover these big spreads in his career, but on the flip side, he plays well against the NFC. So kind of a middle situation here. Shane, any way you see a blowout here with the Rams offense playing pretty well the past couple weeks?
No, especially with the weather that's coming into today. There's going to be a lot of heavy rain, so it's going to be a lot more, I think, of a ground and pound type of game, which means more clocks that get burned. Um, Lamar's not good at covering these high spreads, especially at home. The Rams are still fighting for a playoff spot. They're in that wild card contention, so they aren't just going to roll over. I think this is a big Kyron Williams game, even though Baltimore's defense has been elite this year. But in general, I like the Rams getting points here, and I'm a big fan of the under.
Yeah, usually bigger spread means towards the under. Obviously, over 9.5 point game. We look towards the under in the NFL as of now. It's hitting at about 60% over the past couple of years. But in this one, Rams getting 7.5, obviously a key number in football. Lose by a touchdown, you still cover. I like the way the Rams are playing on offense. Stafford's looked better over the past couple of weeks. Puka Cooper Cup getting the ball a lot of targets. But I think it's going to be a tough matchup for the Rams here, especially against this Ravens defense. Stafford against that pass rush could have some issues. Um, I think, like Shane said, they definitely run the ball a lot more today than usual. I think Kyron gets a lot of handoffs. I think it's going to just depend on both defenses, who can play better today. I think both offenses will be there. It's hard to stop offense in the NFL this year. I think both teams will move the ball a lot. It's just who's going to stop them in the red zone. So I'm going to route the Ravens here. I don't think they cover, but I do think it's definitely a close game. Um, it's just tough because both teams need to keep winning here. Rams need to keep winning for a wild card spot. Ravens need to keep winning to have the shot at number 1 seed here. So both teams will be fighting for a huge victory here. It's just tough to win the road in these matchups for the Rams. So I'm going to take the points and kind of run away with it. I think it's a good teaser spot too if you guys like teasers. If you can tease the Rams up to 13.5, even 14. Get that total larger for the under here. I like that as well. So I'm kind of riding with Shane here as well with the Rams and the total going under in Baltimore today. All right, kind of a good game, kind of a bad game here. Both teams, I said, looking for a win. Both teams playing well. Both offenses playing well. Both quarterbacks here with Minshew and Browning just looking to find ways to win for their team. Obviously, Bengals had a great win, upset win last time we played on primetime against the Jaguars, which was kind of unexpected. But Colts here going into Cincinnati, getting 2.5 points. Again, we talk about key numbers 0, 3, 6, 7, 13, 17, 21. It's below a 3. Whenever I see a team at home getting less than 3 points or giving less than 3 points, I kind of look towards the road dog here, getting 2.5. Who wants to bet on a road team getting 2.5 points, right? Lose by a field goal, you still lose. I'm gonna pull off the upset here. I'm gonna attempt to call the upset here. I think the Colts are playing pretty good football here. I'm gonna take the Colts plus the 2.5. Might as well take the money line too. What's that? What's the chance of this game landing on 2? I'm taking the Colts. I think everyone's on the Bengals today because of what we saw last week. In prime time, everyone saw how great they were, and eventually pulling off the upset against Jacksonville. I'm gonna take the dog here, Shane.
Oh, we're on opposite sides here today.
Yeah.
The Colts have won 4 straight with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. It's just really hard to see him going on a 5-game win streak and try to lead this Colts team to a playoff team. This Colts team is just not their roster is not that good. The defense is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a matter of Jake Browning playing as great as he did on Monday, but I don't think he has to do as much, and his playmakers can do the rest. Like, he can still throw it short, and then Jamar Chase is probably going to still have a day. Joe Mixon can have a day today against this Colts defense. There's at least some playmakers on the Bengals defense that could try to make it hard for Gardner Minshew, and I still don't trust Gardner Minshew. I don't care that he's on this win streak. It seems kind of fluky at this point. I'll take the Bengals at home here.
Okay.
In a
I see
shootout.
your angle. Obviously, Colts defense has not been great at all this year. Just for me, just look at the line, what Vegas is telling me. This line opened at -2 Indy and it's jumped over the 0 line. Now pushing towards 3 here. So you could be right here. Obviously, the line moved for region. JT's not playing today for Indy. But they still got Zach Moss, who's been playing really well this year when JT was out. I just think the value here is on Indy. I think both teams playing well. Both teams kind of an unknown this year with injuries to both starting quarterbacks. It's just hard for me to bet on Browning doing it twice in a row. Obviously, you're going to bet on Minshew winning 5 in a row. I get that point too. But I just hit the value here with the Colts. 4-game win streak, getting plus money on the road against a team with some injuries on both sides. So I'm gonna hit the Colts here, run with it. Not betting it, no money on it today. But if I were gun to my head, I'm gonna take the Colts with the plus money. All right, another situation with a weird line today, and weird line meaning the 3.5. Getting the hook. Texans rolling to New York, giving 3.5 to the Jets with Zach Wilson. Just saying right now, if you want to bet on Zach Wilson against this team right now, God bless you, because I think it's a bad matchup for New York here. Home teams getting the hook at 3.5 just tend to, just in my opinion, just look away. They're begging you to take that 3.5 hook. If it's still at 3.5, could change. Right now it's at 3 at most places. It just dropped to 3 here. So opened at 4.5. Houston by 4.5. Dropped to 4, 3.5. Now down to 3. Sharp money is on New York. I'm hearing from other book sources, but it's hard for me to take this Zach Wilson squad in such a short spread.
This Jets team is just a complete mess. Like the whole organization doesn't believe in Zach Wilson, and you're putting him back in again. There was reports that were saying that he didn't even want to go back in. This is another big weather game, a lot of rain. So liking the under here, especially had on that the Jets offense is going to be involved in this. But I mean, the Texans are playing for something. The Jets aren't. One quarterback's far better than the other. One just team morale is just on complete opposite sides of the spectrum. I'll take the team that's got the good vibes and is playing better football overall.
Yeah, I think better quarterback, just better overall team. I can say better coach at this point too. Even though Salah, I think, is just putting basically a blender here in a shithole situation. Stroud's got to win on the road too, and these are the games where if you want to be in contention for playoffs, you got to win these games as a rookie quarterback. I think he plays well. He doesn't turn the ball over, which doesn't play into what the Jets want to do on defense. He's been pretty well at protecting the football. I think their O-line's been doing pretty well protecting him too this year, which would be kind of a surprise for the rookie quarterback. But again, I think it's such a bad spot for Zach Wilson. It's a bad spot for this overall Jets team. The line's at 2, getting 3. I think it's a bait line, to be honest with you. So the Texans here get the winning out of New York and move on with their season. Shouldn't be too hard to get this win today for Houston. So, all right, NFC South matchup. Excuse me. Panthers taking on the Saints here. Saints sitting at 5.5. Kind of an upset line here. Shane, any way this team can get the upset win for Carolina?
This game's just terrible. So the problem here is the Panthers are terrible on the road, and the Saints are terrible at home. So you can't really go either. Like the Panthers are 0-6 straight up, 2-4 ATS on the road this season. Saints are 0-5 ATS at home this season. If Jameis Winston was playing for the Saints, I would love the Saints a lot more. But you're putting it back in an injured Derek Carr again, and we saw what happened the last time that happened. So I feel like at this point it's hard not to take the Panthers with the points. Derek Carr has not been good this season. I'm sorry to any Saints believers out there. He has not looked good. This team is underperforming again. I think the Saints are just in need of like a hard reset, like clean house, just get rid of a bunch of contracts off the books in the offseason, start a rebuild. Bryce Young has been looking better under the new whatever offensive system they have going on right now. They have Jonathan Mingo getting involved a lot more. This is probably another low-scoring game, just two not great teams playing. But I'll take the 5.5 at this point with the Panthers, just because I'd rather just take a bad team with points than getting points.
Well, Shane, I'm going to tell you why you should feel pretty comfortable about taking this Panthers squad plus the 5.5 here. It's been kind of a trend I've been looking at throughout the season. I think I've told you about it a couple times so far this season. And let's just say it's in a pretty good spot trend-wise ATS. So when you get a road NFC team getting between 4 and 6 points this year, just this year, heading into today's game with the Panthers and the Saints, you are a 10-2-1 ATS better, hitting at 83% of the time, up 7.8 units, betting 1 unit per game with a 54.55% ROI. So for me, it's basically a given. You have to take this Panthers squad plus the 5.5 here. And in these matchups, plus 5.5, like, that's kind of a big dog. Well, not really for the straight up better here. 13 games for this year. for that +4 to +6 range. Those teams have won 3 straight, 5 of the last 6, and so far this year, through 13 games, they're 8-5 straight up as a road dog, road NFC dog, getting between 4 and 6 points. 8-5 straight up. That was last week versus the Cardinals versus Steelers. Cardinals got the upset win on the road. So it's definitely a playable system here and playable trend. So I kind of like the upset here. You don't know what we're getting with Carr. Is he even playing today with a concussion, or is he playing? Is he out?
They confirmed he's playing.
Okay, he's playing. So I think
With
that's even
his
better for me because he's terrible.
Dude, I don't know why they keep putting him out when he's hurt. Like, he has an arm problem and a shoulder problem, and he was just concussed, and now they're already putting him back in.
Yeah. Yeah, not a fan of that. Like it for the Panthers though. Panthers +5.5, my dog of the day. Like I said, I like the money line as well here. Just a great trend. Great trend. So take the Panthers +5.5, sprinkle that money line, and I think this Panthers team pulls off the upset today. So we'll see. Another NFC South game, big one today for Atlanta. Buccaneers going to Atlanta, making a short trip north. Falcons giving Buccaneers 1.5 points, so it's basically a pick'em game here. Shane, you like Ritter? Not that you like Ritter at home, but you've talked about Ritter at home in the past through high school, college, and now the NFL. Does that trend of him playing at home well continue today?
I'm actually taking the dog in this game. I don't
Oh,
think the Falcons are good enough to beat the Bucks twice in the season. It's hard to beat a team twice as it is, when teams are pretty much equal. It's really hard to do. Baker's a lot better on the road than he is at home. Buccaneers are 6-0 ATS on the road this season. Falcons are 0-3 straight up, 1-2 ATS, went on a 2-game win streak, currently on a 2-game win streak. The Falcons are 3-7 ATS in their last 10 games. AJ Terrell is in the game, so that might halt the Bucks offense a little, but I just don't think this Falcons team is as good as what people are trying to portray, even though like this whole division's a shit show. But people are saying that the Falcons are the team running away with the division, most likely. I think it's going to be just like it comes down to like the last week of the season who's going to get it. Like all these teams are like even in my mind. So the Bucks getting points, and they've been playing really well on the road. I'll take the Bucks on this one.
I can see it. I got burned last week betting on, or last week, 2 weeks ago, betting on Baker. I don't know if I can do it again. It's tough for me to take either side here just because I don't trust either quarterback. Don't trust really either head coach. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game here. Both offenses, not really overpowering you on offense. I think it's a divisional game. Both teams are going to play tight. Both teams aren't going to take risks here today in this divisional matchup, especially Atlanta looking for just a win and move on situation. I like the under here the best. This under opened at, give me 1 second, opened at 40. It's jumped a point up to 41. I still like it at 41. I see a 2017 game either way, maybe a 21-17 game. I don't see either team score more than 3 touchdowns today, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think the best bet here is the under in kind of a gross divisional matchup game. So not one I will be betting, but if I had to, I'd probably just take the total here, not take a side because I think it's just 2 bad teams playing in a must-win spot. So I think both defenses kind of step up here. All right, next one, definitely another one for conversation as Jacksonville rolls into Cleveland as another short dog. Cleveland favored by 1.5 with the injury news to Mr. Trevor Lawrence. This line opened up at 3. As soon as the Lawrence news came out, it flipped to 2. Now down to 1.5 with some kind of optimism that he might play today, might give it a go for Jacksonville. This total opened up at 40, has dropped down to 37.5 with the injury news, of course. Sharp money on the under here. 80% of the money, only 50% of the tickets on the Jackson. On the total of under 37.5. Shane, this just feels like a good spot for Cleveland to get a win here. If Trevor Lawrence is in or out, you got a banged up quarterback who's not going to be able to move much against a defense who's been playing great all year, especially that front seven.
So Trevor Lawrence is confirmed in. He just got ruled in. It's the same injury that Mahomes had during that playoff run with his ankle. Again, these teams pushing out their injured quarterbacks. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think the Jaguars are in fear of not making the playoffs this year. So pushing them out against a top 3 defense in the league on the road, I don't think is a smart idea. The Jaguars have been really good on the road this year, but now they're without Christian Kirk, who was their number one option. The Browns have somebody that can actually throw the ball down the field a little now, Joe Flacco. It's not going to be like quick dump offs. Everybody for the Browns, I think, is rolled in. Like Amari Cooper's in. Obviously, Joe Flacco in. I think their defense is getting healthier after they got banged up for the past couple of weeks. Stefanski, surprisingly decent ATS versus non-AFC North teams. Joe Flacco, when playing in Cleveland, is 9-2 straight up and 8-2-1 ATS. If that means anything to you. Obviously, he was on the other side of those matchups, but he likes playing in Cleveland. I'll take the home team here. The Browns, I think, have a lot more to fight for because with the Steelers' loss, that opens up their spot, like in the at least be second place in the division. Could potentially make a run for the first place if Baltimore slips at any point. These teams will both be playoff teams at the end of the season, but I'm going to take the team that doesn't have an injured quarterback.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a bad spot for Jacksonville. You're out weapons. You have an injured quarterback who won't be able to move out of the pocket against a team at home. Getting wins through the defensive way with a quarterback who now can pass down the field, like Shane said. I think Jacksonville's injury is going to be banged up today. I think ETN could be a vocal point. So fantasy-wise, Shane, maybe ETN's a play here for you in your certain leagues. He's a play in my league so far this year. He's been playing pretty well for me. Hopefully it's a good day today. But I'm riding with what Vegas is telling me to ride. And sometimes you can read lines into what Vegas is telling you, and they're telling you that Browns are the better team today, and I'm going to ride with them as well. So Browns -1.5 is my lean in that one, and the under 2. I know it's gross at 37.5 now, but again, 2017, maybe even less than that, 17-14 type of game. I don't see both offenses going off at all, especially Jacksonville. And I think Jacksonville's defense kind of has a chip in their shoulder and steps up today against Joe Flacco. So a gross game, not a fun game to watch probably. Like I said, 17-14, 2017 type of game. And the under gets through. All right, speaking of unders, I like one here too. Seattle taking on San Fran in San Francisco, laying 13.5 in a divisional game. Big game for both teams. Obviously, Niners playing for the 1 seed, Seahawks playing for a playoff spot. But unfortunately, Geno Smith is now injured with is it shoulder, Shane? Shoulder, elbow.
Something along those lines.
I think it's shoulder.
I think it's a shoulder.
But yeah, this line has shown that he's definitely injured. Line opened up at 10.5, which I thought was a lot. Consensus line actually up to 14 now.
It's a groin.
Oh, it's a groin. Huh. That's interesting. So this line's up to 14 now. This line's up to 14 now. Which is a lot of points for me in the individual game, no matter who's at quarterback. Both teams know each other pretty well. Both defenses know each other pretty well. Both coaches know each other pretty well. So 14 is kind of a lot for me. Even though I'm going to say I lean the Niners here in covering that. You know, they've been really well at covering these big spreads at home in the past. Covering in general at home, especially if Geno's hurt and not mobile. So yeah, I'm going to take the Niners here, laying the points, kind of a scary situation. Also like the under here. Under sitting at second. Under is sitting at 45.5. Sharp money kind of on the over here a little bit. 19% differential on the money percentages. Not really a play I'm looking to bet on because it's such a big line. But again, read what they're telling you. Vegas is trying to tell you this could be a blowout situation for the Niners at home. I see it. I lay the points here and just look away. And take that under too. Big spreads equals unders. Over 9.5 point spreads equals unders. Take the under here. Take the favorite. Go to sleep. Watch a different game. This game's not going to be fun to watch. So that's my input on that one, Shane.
Yeah, I don't know what the Seahawks are going to do here because Geno's clearly hurt. Drew Lock was taking most of the reps in practice, but they still want to test Geno to see if he can play. I get it's a must-win game, but if your quarter, he's clearly not fully healthy, and you're going to send him out against a pass rush of Nick Bosa and Chase Young on the road. Like, it doesn't seem like a smart idea. The Niners just own the Seahawks overall. Brock Purdy's 9-1 straight up into ATS at home. 49ers are 16-4 ATS in their last 20 home games. This just seems like a big Debo and Christian McCaffrey game. They're the two big time playmakers of this offense. McCaffrey went off on Thanksgiving against them. Can easily see it happening again. The Niners are trying to play for the 1 seed now as they've won against both of the other main competitors for the 1 seed in Dallas and Philly. Yeah, just give me the Niners. It's all Niners.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the spread number. I saw it earlier. So Niners with Shanahan since 2021 of a favorite of more than 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-1 since 2021 as more than 8-point favorite at home. They're 16-8 ATS since 2021 at home. And in those big spreads, like I said, I think about 60% of those go under here. The Niners put up points, but the Niners defense is tough in these situations, and I think this would be a tough spot for Seattle. So like I said, I'm going to take the favor here. I think it's a 17-point victory, 20-point victory here. I think Niners defense really shows out today and shows everyone that they're a team to beat right now in the NFL. So I'm like I said, taking the favorite. It's gross, I know. Get the 13.5 if you can, because 14 is that key number there, and roll with it. All right, Minnesota redemption time in Vegas. Minnesota laying 3 here in Vegas with Mr. Aiden O'Connell at quarterback for Las Vegas and Mr. Dobbs in at the helm for Minnesota. This line has gone Minnesota's way. Opened up at -1 on Sunday night. All the way up to 3 now. The consensus line is Minnesota by 3. The over is getting plenty of action too. Opened at 40.5. Kind of stuck there at 40.5 for most of the week. Shane, do we see a Josh Dobbs redemption story against this shit Vegas defense today?
I don't know if you can tell by this hat right here.
Boy.
But I'm taking the Vikings in this game. I'm not taking Aiden O'Connell in fucking anywhere ever. Justin Jefferson's back, which should hopefully help bolster this offense for the Vikings. I think it's just going to be a straight up duel this week between him and Devontae Adams. I think they're both going to have days. I think the Vikings are going to make it a point to just force feed Jefferson the ball in his first game back. Because Hawkinson has just been getting absolutely destroyed this year. I don't know how he's still standing. Every time he gets hit and down, it takes a couple minutes for him to get up. The Raiders again aren't playing for anything. They're clearly going to go through some type of reset in the offseason. Hopefully get a franchise quarterback in the draft. The Vikings playing for one of those wild card spots at the moment. I believe there was a stat that said with both teams coming off a bye, the favorite is big time ATS, and the Vikings are the favorite here. I don't think we see what we saw from primetime Josh Dobbs last time against the Bears with the 4 interceptions. Uh, I think this Raiders defense is a lot worse than the Bears, and that's saying something. I will take Minnesota.
Again, it's hard for me to take the Raiders here. Minnesota off a couple of bad games here. I think it's a must-win game for Minnesota. Vegas is trying to end the season and get away from it. More hungry team, the better quarterback, better coach. It's all on Minnesota's side. Their defense is playing pretty well too. They were playing pretty shaky to start the year. They've kind of bolstered up since Josh Dobbs came around. I know Kirk injury kind of put them in shambles a little bit, but I think Josh Dobbs is a smart dude. He's got great character. I think he steps up today for his team and plays well enough to get this win on the road. The 3 points kind of feels like a push spot for me on the road here. But I think Minnesota plays well enough today on both sides of the ball to get a nice victory on the road and move on to week 15. So I'm taking Minnesota here. Don't love the line. Not going to bet it. But I like Minnesota spot in the redemption area today. So like that one. All right. Next 3 games here are pretty important for each team in these matchups. And this is kind of the cream of the crop, in my opinion, for football here. These 4 o'clock games plus Sunday Night Football here. Let's hop into maybe the least of the 3 important or best games here. Broncos at LA. And Shane, we're already going to disagree on this one because I know what you're on here. This line has moved up a little bit from 2.5. Opened at 3, went down to 2.5. And as soon as it went down to 2.5, I got it. So my system play this week is Chargers minus 2.5. Still like it at 3, even there's a chance for a push at 3. So yeah, I'm on the Chargers here. And I know Shane's gonna flip here and go the other way. So let me speak first, and then you can have your time. Chargers here, I think it's just 2 teams who, one, Denver's playing better football, right? Besides last week's debacle in Houston when Russell Wilson showed he is not back.
Also, 1 game dictates the whole season. Got
it. 3 picks, dude. 3. All right, see, this is the problem. Let me speak, and then you can talk after. He threw 3 picks, 1 in the red zone, which was an awful throw to end the game last week. Terrible throw. Okay. And now you have to win on the road. I know it's not a tough spot to play. I know it's not really a road game, but you have to win this game in LA versus Herbert. Who's, in my opinion, playing better quarterback than Russell Wilson. You can say otherwise. It's fine. I'm not a believer in this Broncos team yet. If they win this week, maybe I'll start believing in them, but I can't put my money on this team yet. Vegas is telling me I can't put my money on this team yet. I think this game, if they're respected more, I think this game's closer to a pick'em, in my opinion. This line has stuck at 3 for a hot minute. I think 3 is the right number here. That's why I got it at 2.5. It's just going to be what offense plays better, what offense produces today, and if their playmakers make plays. They need Eckler to score touchdowns. That's what his job is, to score touchdowns. They need the wide receivers to catch the ball, which they've had plenty of drops this year, which is why I think Herbert's numbers have looked not as good this year, even though he's top 10 in most categories. And I think the Chargers are just a better overall team. Now, obviously, we've talked about Steely coaching in the past and how he makes awful decisions, especially in crunch time. So what I'm hoping for here is a comfortable win for the Chargers. A spot where they're up most of the game, where Staley's decision-making does not come into play here. And that's what I'm hoping for the Chargers today. Getting a 7-point victory at home against Denver, who I think is kind of caught the public eye. And I think they're becoming a public favorite here. So, Shane, go ahead. Tell me why the Broncos are going to win this game.
All right. This game first seems like a huge overreaction to last week for the Broncos. Russell Wilson came in last week with 4 interceptions on the year, and yeah, he did have a bad game last week. We're not going to deny that. But now, from everything I'm seeing online, everybody's taking the Chargers. When they put up 6 points last week, Mitchell Trubisky put up more points on the Patriots defense than Justin Herbert did. Let's not forget that. Justin Herbert's 2-9-1 ATS in his last 12 when the spread is 4 or less. I think Russell Wilson's been playing a lot better than Herbert has this year. No Josh Palmer for the Chargers this week. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, your Austin Eckler scoring touchdown situation. Glad that's your reasoning because they're talking about benching him right now because he's been playing that bad. He's averaging 2.5 yards per carry this season. Josh Kelly's being talked about getting a lot more carries, and he's absolutely abysmal. Herbert 14-16-1 ATS at home. Broncos have been playing a lot better on defense after the 70-point debacle as compared to the Chargers. The Chargers don't have like anything really going on in the secondary. I think this is a big Cortland Sutton game, has been every week for them because he's scored, I think, the second most touchdowns in the league, like receiving wise. I'll take the team with the better coach, the quarterback that has been playing better this year, and I think it's not going to be like a blowout win either. Even if the Chargers were to win or the Broncos win, I don't think it's a blowout win. But I do think the Broncos edge out the Chargers here.
So, I'm trying to find the last time that Herbert has lost as a home favorite in divisional matchup, and I'm back in 2019 now. What year was he drafted in?
Well, he was drafted in 2020.
Okay, so he's never lost a home divisional game as a favorite.
Has he ever had a team this bad?
His rookie year, maybe. Those games have been close, though. Looking at here, they played Denver in 2020. They were 2.5-point favorites, won by 3. Played Vegas 2021, 3-point favorites, won by 14. 2022 played Vegas again, 3.5-point favorites, won by 5. Played Denver as 4-point favorites last year, won by 3. So these games are somewhat close, especially against Denver. Like I said, it's going to be a close game. Either team will get blown out, I don't think. I think it's somewhat of a competitive game. Looking at money percentages here for the total. Total opened at 45.5, dropped a half point to 45. Sharp money on the total here on the over. 81% of the money, only 50% of the bets on the over. So I'm going to take, I like the points here, kind of. 45.5. So what's that, 27-24 game? I can see 27 points by both teams. For the money percentage on the side here, public darling, man. I'm telling you, man, it's becoming Denver. 65% of the bets, only 50% of the money on Denver here. So a sharp differential for 14% on the Chargers. I'm saying I just don't like it. I don't like Russell on the road. I don't like Russell in a must-win spot. I don't trust him. I don't know. Not that we can trust Herbert either. He hasn't won big games. But I think I'm going to take the more talented quarterback here. Just my opinion. All right. It's probably the second biggest game of the week. I mean, we can tic-tac for these two next games, but Bills going into Kansas City. This line has dropped significantly. This line opened at -3 in Kansas City, which is what we thought it would be. It's dropped to 2, now 1.5. It's going back up to 2 a little bit. We're getting some late Chiefs money here. It's back up to 2. So consensus line for all books now is -2. If you can get a 1.5, great for you. I still think 2 matters. 1.5 or 2 matters in this situation. Shane, it's tough for me to pick this Chiefs team right now. It really is. We've seen this offense just straight up struggle. I know we're getting Mahomes off a loss. It's only happened 3 times. He's only lost back-to-back games 3 times in his career. I get that. But this offense is abysmal, man. And now you have Pacheco out with a shoulder injury. He's out for this game. Another playmaker not going to be there. Kelsey, where has he been this past couple weeks? I think he's off in Swiftland. He told me this week he's talking about retirement. I don't think this Chiefs team is in it. Their head's not into it, I don't think. The defense is playing better than their offense, which is a rarity for Kansas City. Pat Mahomes is just mentally frustrated with no offensive playmakers whatsoever on this offensive side of the ball, especially with Kelsey not playing well. I think it's tough. I think it's gonna be a bad matchup for the Chiefs here. I think Bill's offense is playing much better since they got rid of Mr. Ken Dorsey. And it's just desperate times now for the Bills. We said against the Eagles, man, that they should have won that game, but that's another area to talk about. But I'm taking the Bills. I am taking the Bills. Bills plus 1.5, money line, plus whatever it is. NFL, I think, is a huge area for desperate teams, desperate measures. I think the more desperate team here is the Bills on the road and a tough place to play. At some point, this talented Bills team has to step up and win a game. And I think it's now. So I'm going to take the Bills here. Shane, I don't know what you're on, to be honest with you. But we can hear he's on the other side, you little bastard. But we can get into that right now. Shane, what do you got?
Oh, I'm on the Bills. I don't know what you're
going.
I'm on Buffalo here. It may come as a surprise because I'm always on the Patrick Mahomes after a loss train. But Josh Allen and the Bills have just owned the Chiefs in the regular season. That's really my big thing. I play into the narrative a lot of if a team owns another team, just keep riding the team that's hot no matter what the situation is. That's kind of why I'm kicking myself in the ass from the Patriots-Steelers game, because the Patriots historically have owned the Steelers, and I still went with the Steelers. Yeah, Josh Allen is great as a dog. He's good again in these close spread games. He's good on just normal rest. If he has extended rest or shortened rest, he's not that great. But when it's normal 7 days, he is good at covering. The Chiefs, I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs. Like, I don't know if they need like a change like higher up to like sign some people to actually help this team or what. They're getting hurt more and more hurt every week. They're still They just lost Justin Reed for the year on defense. I don't think Nick Bolton's going to be back today, who was their star linebacker. The Bills have been looking a lot more promising. I like the under a lot in this game. With it being, when I wrote my thing, it was at 49. That seems way too high, especially for a Chiefs game. But yeah, I'll take the Bills in this game. I think the last time these teams played, it was a really low scoring game too. Yeah, I'll take the Bills here. I had it pinned at 24-20. Like, it's hard to see the Chiefs scoring like 3 touchdowns in like any game. Now you get rid of one of their 2 key pieces that was on offense as playmakers in Pacheco, who might actually be out for like the rest of the regular season. They were talking about maybe putting him in IR. Yeah, no, I'll take Buffalo here because they've actually been able to show some competency on offense overall. And their defense, I mean, it's not the greatest at this point because of the injuries, but I think they can still handle Sky Moore and MVS, who just drops the ball every play.
This is a crazy stat I just found using the Trend Center app, which everyone should download, which is awesome. So we talk about Pat Mahomes off a loss, right? How about Pat Mahomes when the total is less than 50 at home? Pat Mahomes when the total is less than 50 at home, 20-1 straight up. His only loss was a couple weeks ago against the Eagles when they should have won the game with, they caught the last touchdown pass. 20-1. That is insane. But, right now I just think the Chiefs are kind of a mess. This reminds me of Brady's last year in New England. I'm going to tell you why. everyone's like, oh, Brady's having a down year. Brady's not Brady anymore. Brady's not this. Brady's not that. No, it's about the people around him. It's about his weapons around him this year, right? No number one receiver. Um, Pacheco's been decent, but he's not a star running back. He's not a playmaker in the passing game. Um, Kelsey has been kind of non-existent. Not Travis Kelsey the past couple weeks. You can say it's because of Taylor Swift or whatnot. It's not. It's just how the game's going this year for him. It reminds me a lot of that 2019 Patriots team. So offensively, it's tough to watch. I think Bills on offense are just too much for them. We saw them overpower the Eagles on offense. They outgained the Eagles on the road. They should have won that day. They should have won that game, which still pisses me off. But Bills just playing better football on the offensive side of the ball. And in 2023, 2024 NFL, dude, offense is winning these matchups. And I told you this, I've talked about this all year, but offense is winning these games. And it might be different come playoff time with the better defense, the better coach, but offensively, these teams are winning these games and they're getting points when needed. This could get ugly quick for Kansas City and will not be surprised. So I like Buffalo here, plus money too. Give me that all day. We could be dead wrong. Chiefs come out and score 35 today, and I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I would be surprised if that happens, but I think Buffalo takes it to them today, to be honest with you. So, all right. Vegas is saying this is going to be the biggest bet or biggest NFL gambling day of the year for bookmakers and books around the country. Eagles at Dallas, rematch of a couple weeks ago with Cowboys losing to the Eagles at home because Dak Prescott wanted to step out of bounds a 2 yard short. I had the Eagles in that matchup. I am taking Dallas in this one. Shane, I think you are too. Dak Prescott, man. We picked him in our preseason MVP voting. He's right up there. I think he's 2, right, Shane? He's right behind Purdy at 2.
It's like the varying on books. He's either like tied for first or second. He's in the top like 2 or 3. It's Purdy,
So
Hurts, and him.
we posted him at, I think, plus 4,500 with MVP this year. He's in the mix, so great if anybody bet that with us. Trevor Lawrence is up there too for us, but he's had a down year with some injuries. But anyways, Jalen Hurts is just different on the road here. Tough matchup, tough place to play. I think this is Dallas' game to win. Dallas' game to lose. I think it's a revenge spot for Dallas here at home. They won 14 straight at home, I think, Shane, coming into today.
Something like that. They've been monsters.
Yeah, so I'm right with the hotter team at home today. Cowboys -3. If you can get down to 2.5, even better. Now, if this line somehow gets to 4 before kickoff, that NFC 4 to 6 point number comes into play with Philly. I don't think it gets to 4. I don't think it goes higher than 3.5 here. But right now, I'm riding Dallas at -3.
Did you know that Dak Prescott is 5-1 straight up in ATS at home versus the Eagles?
Nice.
He's 12. The Cowboys are 12-5 straight up in ATS in night games since 2021. Dak Prescott overall is just 8-4 straight up in ATS versus the Eagles. Hurts isn't that great on the road or as an underdog. The Cowboys' offense has just been electric, and now they're facing against the worst pass defense in the league right now.
It's bad.
There's going to be points this game, both sides, because we just saw the Cowboys give up a bunch of points to the Seattle offense that hasn't been great this year. They've been underperforming, and they made Geno Smith look like an MVP type player. And now you're going to have them go against A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert back, top tier offensive line, and then Jalen Hurts, who's also in the MVP mix. High scoring game. I think it's going to end up being a split, so the Cowboys win. I think I had them covering as well. 34-30 was my mark. This is a pivotal game. If the Eagles win this game, they're the 1 seed. I think that's basically what happens. But if the Cowboys win, and somehow the Eagles are gonna so much happens here. It's hard to imagine the Cowboys being above the Eagles because I think everybody thinks the Eagles just have a far superior roster overall. We'll see if like Shaq Leonard makes a difference. I think he's suiting up for the Eagles tonight for the first time. These were the two teams he was choosing between, and he ended up going to Philly. But Dak at home is just a monster, and yeah, I'll take Dallas here.
Yeah, I think it's just a spot for Dak to maybe put himself in the number one running for MVP too in this type of game. I'm taking the better defense here at home. I think it's just tough for these teams to win on the road here in these matchups. We saw that, dude. I'm telling you, man. I said it for the past 3 weeks. This Eagles defense is suspect. Suspect. Once you get past the front seven, man, it's free game, I think, at this point. So I think CD has a big game. I think Jake Ferguson has a big game, which you put out in a play, which I love at, I think, 46.5 the yards. He's been playing really well. Getting a lot of targets, too, especially in the red zone. So him anytime touchdown could be a spot, too. Yeah, I like Dallas here. Not in a runaway situation. I don't think it's going to be a tight game throughout, back and forth like most of these games are. But I think Dallas pulls this one out and gets that win for the team. So that's that. That's Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football, you have 2 games this week. Tennessee, do go over this one first. Titans at Dolphins at -13. This line will probably get to 14 by kickoff. So if you like Dolphins, get it now. Let's see. Open up at 11.5, up to 14 actually already. It's actually 14 at all books besides Bookmaker, I'm seeing. So it's at 14. So your chance at 13.5 just went down the drain. Open at 11.5, up to 14 already. System play is on Miami here. I posted it at 13.5, so I missed the line by 2 points when I posted it. It's up to 14 now, so I still feel good about it. Total opened at 44. It's up to 46 now, which would change towards game time. But again, just a bad spot for Tennessee here. Rookie quarterback going into a primetime game against the Dolphins at home, which offense has just been electric. I don't think this Tennessee team can keep up on the offensive side of the ball.
No, the Titans are terrible on the road. The Dolphins are great at home. Dolphins love beating up on bad teams. With Jalen Ramsey back, this defense has been looking a lot better. I don't know who's going to guard Tyreek Hill. This is probably at least a 150-yard game for him. I'll just take the Dolphins here. There's not much to say.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, I think. I know laying a 13 here in primetime is pretty gross, but I still like it. Even at 14. Worst you can get, I think, is a push there. Next one kind of gross, too. Green Bay at the Giants here in primetime Monday Night Football. Second game we have here. Packers giving Giants 6.5 at home. I'm taking the Giants here. Okay. I'm taking the Giants plus the points here. I think 6.5 is a weird number for me. On the road, you're just betting them by a touchdown, which is kind of just too easy for me in general. It's 6.5 most places. 6 still at Circa. Not saying the Giants win, but I think they keep it within a touchdown here. And it might be wrong. It might be dead wrong, to be honest. But I think they keep it within a touchdown. I think a lot of hype right now is on this Packers team. Jordan Love playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. So my pick's the Giants. Not too much interest for me in this game, to be honest. I'll have more interest in the Dolphins game, but usually I try to pick one favorite, one dog in this situation with two primetime games. So I'll take the dog here, the home dog here.
As a Giants fan, I can't do it. Matt LaFleur 16-0 straight up, 10-6 ATS in December. LaFleur is 5-0-1 straight up and 4-2 ATS on Monday Night Football. I'm not taking Tommy DeVito to keep a fucking win streak going, and they're coming off the bye. And your teams coming off the bye have not been great this year. Packers are hot. They've beaten the Lions and the Chiefs. No Christian Watson, but I don't think that really matters because, again, the Giants, secondary isn't anything to be scared of, in all honesty. So Dobbs and Reed can have a day. I don't know if Aaron Jones is playing or not. He's been questionable, but again, I don't think it really matters. Jordan Love has been slinging the ball as of late. I'll take the Packers here.
I can't hate it. I cannot not game I'm really interested in. Shane, as we get in the playoffs here for some teams in fantasy, anything for the guys in terms of who to start, who to sit injuries wise?
Dude, Eckler's like it's hard to not play him because of the name factor, but like dude has just been terrible. Absolutely atrocious. And now they're talking about him like getting less work and potentially just not playing. I've been holding on to this statement or this opinion for like the whole year that I think that he's done after this year. Like I don't even think a team signs him. I think he'll just retire. He'll go into like the gaming world because he's involved in that. He's also just involved in the fantasy world. He'll probably end up doing something for some fantasy plays. Probably like ESPN signs him or something. But yeah, not that. A lot of these running backs that you like hold a lot of name value are just like in scary spots or just haven't been well. Derrick Henry's another person like that. Like it's Derrick. Did you know Derrick Henry's second in the league in rushing yards?
Really?
It doesn't feel like it.
Wow.
He's second in the league in rushing yards. But like I think that's because of the past couple of games he's had some success. But now he's facing off against he's a 14-point underdog. Like on the road, hell no. This isn't like a crazy bye week. At least it's just the Commanders and the Cardinals. That sucks for me in Superflex because Sam Howell is not playing, so Joe Flacco's got to rip it up for me. Again, just make sure you're looking at defenses multiple weeks ahead, so you have them stashed. You don't want to have to be scrambling to get a defense. Kickers, just get a kicker on a good team because they're going to be more scoring opportunities. Also, just try not to people like to try to overthink things. Like if you have Chuba Hubbard and Bijan, but you think Bijan's in a bad matchup, people will bench him. Like, no, just play your star players. That's basically it. People try to overthink things and it ends up biting them in the ass. And this is the time where you can't afford to make mistakes.
Awesome. Good shit. Again, great games in the 4 o'clock window. Not much to watch in the 1 o'clock window. What's the best game in the 1 o'clock?
Probably the Rams or Ravens, but it's going to be
Rams, Ravens, Colts, Bengals, maybe. Not too much. 4 o'clock's where it gets juicy. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. We'll be back next week, week 15. Getting down and dirty here for the last couple weeks of football. Be safe, guys. See you back next week, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Kick it.